And then we kind of notice that we are in an extremely Republican city, in a Republican state, and a lot of people are kind of glaring at us. And here are a bunch of scrawny, tattooed musicians talking about their gayness and the interconnectedness of all things. Hello, I'm Grandson. This is the story of the time that I met the mayor of Gulfport, Mississippi, while high on mushrooms. I was on tour, and it was a bus tour on a brown bus that took me across America playing rock music. We had a day off, and we parked the bus on a beautiful, beautiful beach. There were about 5 of us that decided this would be a good day to try some psychedelic drugs. Somebody had a big bag of mushrooms. They were like long stems and like teeny tiny little caps, and I had been told that the caps are actually the part that are gonna get me the most high, so I was almost reassured. I was like, well, this won't be that intense then, because look at these pencil dick mushrooms here, there shouldn't be a problem. While we're waiting for them to kick in, we're in a very, very small town. Gulfport is not a particularly big city, and so people are attracted to this giant bus that's parked on the side of the road. An extremely muscular man walks up to us and begins his conversation with us, asking us a ton of questions about being in a band, being on tour. And so as we're talking, he mentions that he works for the mayor and the mayor's office, and that he might let the mayor know that we're in town. I say, cool, man, I'm Grandson, have a great day. He wanders off, and we set out to walk this whole beach. About an hour in, the front of house, Keith, who has kind of kept to himself for most of the tour, without saying another word, puts on his headphones, turns and walks away. We're all walking together, and we've just lost a member without any sort of warning. To lose one of our team members was unsettling. It felt like I lost a little bit of color, like orange turns to blue or something, like it's a little dark now, because where's he going, and where am I going for that matter? I find myself on the ground with my friend Jonathan there, and we're just digging. Not sure what we're digging to, but we're just digging a hole in the sand. And at first, the first layer is like brown, but then the more we dig, it gets kind of orange and then purple. And I can't tell whether this is the mushrooms talking or if it's a genuine layers of sediment. As I'm looking at the sand though, I'm noticing like that there are tiny little specks of seashells, and they start looking like planets in my hand. Each grain of sand, and I remember that quote that there are more stars in the sky than there are grains of sand on the beach. And I imagine with each grain of sand in my hand, a tiny little planet full of people and things and mushrooms just like living. We start talking about how sexuality exists on a spectrum and how everybody's probably a little bit gay while we stare at the sand planets. And then we kind of notice that we are in an extremely Republican city, in a Republican state. And a lot of people are kind of glaring at us. Like people's big family day at the beach is happening, and here are a bunch of scrawny, tattooed musicians talking about their gayness and the interconnectedness of all things. We get up and make our way to some sort of crab shack restaurant that everyone else has been at for a while, and I find myself nauseated. The fact that we could, on one hand, be marveling at the beauty of Mother Nature and all of her abundance, and then be sitting here eating crab. I think I still ate it, but we decide to make our way back to the bus. And there's a commotion at the bus. The muscular man from the beginning of the story, he had actually gone to the mayor's office and notified them that Grandson was here. The son of the mayor was an amateur bodybuilder of sorts, and he works out to my music. So he was a big fan. Daughter worked in the music industry and wanted some new connections. The whole family decided that on behalf of Gulfport, Mississippi, we should all become acquaintances. I had already forgotten that we had met somebody who worked for the mayor, so when a man introduced himself as the mayor, I introduced myself as the president. They had an adorable, adorable dog, and I remember locking eyes with the dog and expecting him to bark or wag his tail, and he just sat still as a rock, the two of us, speaking without words. Barbecues and grilling are not allowed on the beach, on public property, but the mayor made a special exemption, and as the sun was setting and the mushrooms were coming down, we grilled hamburgers and veggie dogs, watched the sunset, parted ways. I got on the bus, sandy, crawl into my bunk, fall asleep, head full of dreams, sheets full of sand.
Tales from the